Before we get started, we're gonna have a special brother come up and bless the place. We're gonna pray. We're gonna say some words about the Mauna and what's going on up there. So please lend you guys ear and help me welcome Kalani Akepa Wilkins. Come on guys, make some noise.
Aloha ahi kākou. Mahalo no ko'oko hele ana mai ke ia aha aina no ke kākou I ko kākou mauna wakea. Thank you everybody for coming and supporting our kukia I mauna, our guardians, protecting mauna wakea. Mahalo no ka ohana ke liho o malu no ke ia wahine no ke ia ahaina. Mahalo to the ke lihi o malu ohana for providing their site so that we can gather and support Mauna Wakea. So e pule kako o malu mahalo ia oi ke akua. Thank you Lord. No ke ia ahaina a me na kanaka e kako ai e koko ai I ke ia ahaina. Mahalo to all of the friends, family, and all of the people came to put on this event. Nā kia kua no e ho'opo mai ka ia kako pauloa. Please Lord, please bless everyone in every way. E hui kala mai ko kako hewa I hewa ai. Please excuse all of us and all of our trespasses. Malalo ko malu, malalo ko ikaika, me ke aloha. We need your wings of protection and your guidance of love. Amen. Okay, aloha, my name is Kalani Akepa Wilson, a PhD student. Got my master's in Hawaiian language. I'm here to share some history about what I found in Hawaiian newspapers from 1810 all the way to 1893. My grandmother was born and raised in Kukui Haile, Hamakua, and that's what got me started learning Hawaiian. She was tortured her first day of school. She was full Hawaiian, she only spoke Hawaiian. The teacher, when she asked to go to use the bathroom in Hawaiian, they brought her up and they spanked her. And when she would share those stories with me is what started me to learn Hawaiian from a young age from her. Because all of my ohana, my aunties and uncles, they didn't speak Hawaiian, but their parents did. And then I was the only one from my generation, from my family, to learn Hawaiian. So when I was reading about Hawaiians and going to school in English school, when they told me stories, it just didn't feel right. The stories they told me in English about who I was and about my ancestors, it just didn't sit right. So after I graduated high school, I just went straight into reading as much Hawaiian as possible before they overthrew our government in 1893. So the story that I'm going to share with you right now is about Keia Nupepa, a Nupepa Kuoko'a. I ka makahiki umikumamawalu, mikumamaono kalai kahi o January. So January 1st, 1862, the Nupepa Kuoko'a, me ka hai Hawaii. So what you're looking at here is the first color print newspaper in the world. No other newspaper beat this newspaper. And how we know this is because the New York Times, they put out an article, London was the first in 1888. So my colleague made a reprint of this one in Bishop Museum, sent it to the New York Times, and they apologized. Hawaii was the first people in the world to have a color print newspaper. So after reading newspapers for 20 years, it's the first time I've ever seen English and Hawaiian on the front page. So I'm gonna read for you the first hauku. Kahai Hawaii. Waololo a haoli hoi mako I kahai Hawaii pa ia maluna e ololo anana hoi pa haka po e lawe ka lupe paku oko ai ka nana ana. O kau mako I kahai no ki koe ia ana mai ko mako aloha nui ko kaku mo ia me ka moi waine me ka hako o Hawaii ka laua ke kia me ke au puni hoi o kako. He mea mau ki aloha o na makaina ana I kahai o ko lako aina I ko lako wai ki ai 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 velo ana. E ho pia mai no paha ia I kana au me ka oli oli. A translation. Our Hawaiian flag. We are much pleased with the beautiful flag printed above, and all our readers will also be pleased in seeing it. We have been to some expense and labor to print it out of aloha for our King, Queen, and Prince Royal, and for our government. All true patriots love the flag of their country, and when they see it, it fills them with joy. The first time I read this, I cried. I didn't know that when I seen the flag of my country, when I see the flag of my country, I'm supposed to be filled up with joy. I felt that way, but I didn't know why. And then as I reconnected to the stories of my kupuna in their language, in the language that I'm supposed to be speaking in, the connection became stronger. And I just needed more and more and more and more because I was fed so many
lies.
Yes, lies my whole life about who I was and who my kupuna were. So I have a few presentations, but I'm not sure how much time I get left. More. Okay. Uhana mua ia ke ia hai ka makahiki omi kumawalu, omi kumamaona no ka Kamehameha Ekahi. The Hawaiian flag was designed for King Kamehameha Ekahi in the year 1816. He mea ho ke pai ana I ka hae mananu pepa me ka hoi ke pū I ka vai ho'olu. He mea I hana ole ia maane I ka wā ma mua aku a pela no ma kekahi mau aina haole. This is a new idea to print a flag in colors in a newspaper. It is something that has never been done here before or in foreign countries. So even when you look at the word haole in this newspaper, yeah, when they translated here in 1862, it's foreign countries. You know, and there's a lot of negativity and stigma, I think, that comes with it nowadays. But back then, the word haole or ha'ole, there's history to that, yeah? And I got one small little story about that too. So Kamehameha boarded the ship with Captain Cook, 1778. Kamehameha goes to the first sailor, Wahine. To the next one, Wahine. So all men, yeah, on Captain Cook's ship. But they get long hair, they're really skinny. He looks at the next guy, Kane, Lono. he had a scar across his face, Captain Cook. So that's how Kamehameha knew, oh, this is Lono, and this is all his wahine. All of the other sailors. And this is a story my grandmother told me, yeah. Approaches Captain Cook, or Lono. So, right at that moment, Kamehameha goes to touch noses and honey. But Captain Cook goes like this. Sticks out his hand to shake his hands. So Kamehameha goes, ha, ole. And that's how we get the word haole. That's my family story of how we get the word haole. It's haole, or never share the breath of life, the essence of life with the person that you're talking to. You know, stick out the hand and shake instead. Maikai? Raise your hand if you never heard that story before. Okay, thank you. It was worth it then, huh? Okay, really, but I'm here to share about the High Hawaii. So when was the High Hawaii created? Everybody? Anybody? 1816. Everybody say 1816. 1816. A little bit louder. 1816. 1816. Okay, so 1810. The largest war ever in the archipelago ends. Thousands of Hawaiians died on all of the islands. 1810, the largest war in our history ends. Civil War ends. 1810, Kamehameha writes a letter to King George asking for 5 things: bunting, weapons, ships, register, and seal. In order for Kamehameha to transition his island kingdom into an internationally recognized country, you need to show that you can utilize a register. That's every harbor logs down and accounts everything going in and out of the harbor. You need a seal. Any letter, communication going back and forth to any country is stamped with the seal of your kingdom. Bunting. That's what you have here. Kamehameha asked in 1810 for bunting. Bunting means materials to make a national symbol or a national flag. So he receives the High Hawaii from Captain Alexander in 1816. Kamakahonu, Kailua Kona. Aye. First thing he does with the High Hawaii, with the flag, loads up tons of sandalwood onto his ship, the Forester, and he sends it to China. The Chinese love sandalwood. His ship with sandalwood goes to China, 1816. The Chinese go, what is this? They don't recognize the flag as a flag of a country. So what they do is they take 60% of all of the sandalwood. Harbor duties. So right off the bat, Kamehameha loses 60% of his cargo. The ship returns to Hawaii. They tell Kamehameha what happens. That day, Kamehameha proclaims harbor dues for all of his harbors on all of the islands. He wasn't happy because all of the ships that was coming in from foreign countries didn't tell him about harbor dues. So this is over 30 years now. Hawaiians been just giving water, food, pua'a, everything for these guys, and they wasn't paying anything. So this flag that you see here My understanding is his transition from the ancient system using kahilis to now becoming internationally recognized, playing the international game field with all of the other international countries. So in this flag, there's actually 5 different flags here. This is why I brought it up. So when Kamehameha started this, after he united the Big Island, he aligned himself with the strongest military in the world, naval military fleet. That's Great Britain, right here. That's why the British Jack is here, because Kamehameha needed ships, guns, cannons to unify the rest of the islands. These 3 stripes, this is the Russian flag. So the Kauai chief, knowing that there was going into warfare all of the islands, Kauai chief goes to the Russian Tsar. Russian Tsar sends down his army. They build a fort on Kauai. If you turn the colors the other way, vertically, then you have the French flag. The chief of Maui, Kahekili, he was aligning his army, asking for help from France. And we know that because of the Catholic Church started there from France. On Oahu, that chief aligned himself with America. So the red and white stripes. So what Kamehameha was looking at was an international conflict between all of the islands. Hawaii, Great Britain, Maui, France, Oahu, America, Kauai, Russia. As a Hawaiian, you couldn't let that happen, or else we'd be speaking 5 different languages. The main thing to him, my understanding, was to unite all of the Hawaiian people under one roof. So that's how we got the High Hawaii. I don't know. So after doing research for many years, well, that's the international story. Now I'm going to share with you guys the Hawaiian story. Kamehameha first lived in the time of the kapu system. Okay? So, protocols, ceremonies on Heiau, the seasons, all governed by 4 deities. The first deity, Lono. Lono is the god of peace, fertility, and agriculture. His kinolao, or his body form, is our staple, the uwala. His color is white. So if you look at the High Hawaii, when the kingdom of Hawaii is at peace, the prevailing color on the top is Lono. His dual partner is Kukailimoku, Kamehameha's god. His kinolao is coconut, his color is red. So right now we're actually in Ku season. The 2 uli uli, or the 2 blue, are the twin brothers that pretty much brings the entire Pacific together, Kane and Kanaloa. Kane, his kinolao is fresh water. Don't have fresh water, nothing grows, you voila. Yeah, so this is him. The short blue, Kane. His kinolao also is the kalo. So if you look at the time that Hawaiians been here on these islands over thousands and thousands of years, the deities show you our food staples that sustained our population for that long. Uala, Lono, Niu, Hu, freshwater, Kalo, Kane. The second blue, the long blue, is Kanaloa, god of the ocean. His kinolao is Maia, the banana. So anything that has to do with the ocean, seafaring, fishing, associated with Kanaloa. So Kamehameha flew this high Hawaii from 1816 all the way until, can anybody guess what year did they take the high Hawaii down? 1893. The illegal overthrow. That's when they overthrew our government, the Kingdom of Hawaii. So for me, and this Hawaiian story, it tells me, because we're not at peace now, because they overthrew our government, and we don't control, and we cannot even protect Mauna Kea. Because there's no doubt to me that Pohakuloa, Kaho'olawe, Makua, Waiahole, Mauna Kea, the desecration would continue if we had control over our lands. And that's only a very small, tiny, minute amount of damage that's being done. So when they turned over our government in 1893, for me, the high Hawaii has to be turned over. So the prevailing color, Kukailimoku, I don't think I shared this. He's the god of government, politics. And if those two don't work, then you go to war. That's what Kamehameha did. So, along with this mo'olelo, most people never heard it before. Because we grew up learning that this is the state flag. 1959, they write one letter, they adopt the flag as the state flag. You cannot call it the state flag. It's not the state flag, that's a lie. This was created in 1816 for Kamehameha Ekahi. It was for his government, Ko Hawaii Pai Aina, the Kingdom of Hawaii. This is the true national flag of the Kingdom of Hawaii. And we all need to share this with everyone, because we all been brainwashed from our language, and that takes away our stories. And if they take away our language and our stories, then we don't know where we come from. We don't know the true origin or history of what we're supposed to know. And in my research, that's critical. They call it the Stockholm Syndrome. When Germany took over the countries and made everybody speak German and burn all their books, they have to pay back all the citizens for doing that. That's called Germanization. We are all victims of Americanization. All of us. No one can tell me that they wasn't. Because just get too much. We try our best, but he mea nui ke la. No leila, me ke la manao. Okay, I gotta check because I told him I would be on point and get off when the time. So, can everybody yell out to me, in what year was this high Hawaii created? 1816. Hey, one more time. 1816. For whom was the high Hawaii created? Kamehameha Ekahi. Yeah, Kamehameha Nui. Everyone say Kamehameha Ekahi. For what government was the high Hawaii created? Okay, let's say the Hawaiian. Ko Hawaii Pai Aina. Everybody say Ko Hawaii Pai Aina. So when you look at that word, yeah, Ko is the possessor. Hawaii, that's this island. Pai Aina is the archipelago. So really it's Hawaii's islands that he acquired. Yeah, that's Ko Hawaii Pai Aina. Okay. What is the color red? Which god does that signify? Maikai, everybody say ku kailimoku. Okay. Good. Repeat after me. Government? Politics? Those two don't work? Ay, Maikai. Okay, Makahiki season. The color white. Lono. And he is the god of peace, fertility, agriculture. What is his kinolao or his platform? Uwala. Uwala. It's really important because our people survived off of coconut, uwala, banana, kalo. So that means we can still survive off of those staples. And we gotta plant our staples. You guys gotta plant your staples. If you guys have aina, look for coconut, look for uwala, and plant them. That's how you can be sovereign. And it's more healthy for our bodies. Our bodies don't process the Mac chicken or the Mac double and the Big Mac like we process uwala, kalo, and coconut. That's why some statistics show Hawaiians is at the top of the list of a lot of ailments, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So someday, e pono kako, e hapa I ko kako hai Hawaii, me lono, maluna. Someday we need to fly our high Hawaii the correct way. That's when we have control and we don't have to go and occupy Mauna Kea, Oha, the state government. But know this, our job is not done. Oh. So brother, when asked about this flag, Buzzy Agard is the one that I know from his story created this flag. This is the Kanaka Maoli flag. So my history understanding is in the middle.
That's Lunu's cake. The makahiki that they carry on the wall.
Aye. And then that's the two paddles.
Oh, the splinter paddle. The first one, Kamehameha.
Aye.
For fishermen. When you went to steal a fish from the fishermen, they cracked the paddle on Kamehameha's head. That's where those two paddles came from.
Aye.
So explain that flag.
Okay. So in the middle, I understand that to be a puela. The puela, whenever the chief or the mo'i is out on the ocean, he flies that on the top of his mast. That's how you know if the highest king or the chief is on the ocean. The kanawai ma'amalahoa, or the two paddles. So in Kamehameha went, so what they used to do before they go to war, they go to another beach, they cut down all their coconut trees. So they're taking their food crop, they cut down their god Kuka Ilimoku, all the trees fall. So then the people from that village, they're like, oh brah, this is scrap. They cut down our coconut trees. So Kamehameha went to go do that. And then he saw some guys, and then he went to go chase them. And then his foot got stuck, and then the fisherman cracked him on the head. Kamehameha almost lost his life. Few years of war, he unites the island, and he sends emissaries to go get those fishermen. Takes those fishermen all the way to Pu'ukohola. And he creates the first law. Kanawai Mamalahoa. Every woman, child, and elderly person can lay on the side of the road without getting harmed. This is significant because kana vai. Kana is his or her. Vai is water. They choose to use the word kana vai as the first word to describe law. Yeah? Before this, there's no law in Hawaii. There's kapu. Everything is managed, resources is managed by kapu. So this is our first law, kana vai mamalahua. As for the colors, I'm not too sure, but I know what's in the middle, that's the real deal. And you can find it on the Honolulu Police Department website. They got the best description about the middle part that I know of. Okay, any questions? Maikai, mahalo ya auto, apa aloha, aloha.